Hi, welcome to Barmy Army fan cams after a 6-1 win over Bristol. We finished the year in top spot. Joining me today, Fiona, Jake, Shane, Matt, Ian. Fiona, your thoughts on that match?
Very comprehensive win, but there were moments when we didn't like to make it easy for ourselves. I think in the second half, the sun in some of the defenders' eyes probably didn't help. But I think we saw what we can do going forward. Once we got a few goals, we looked confident. Everybody wanted to get involved. Everybody was taking a shot, taking chances, which we haven't seen much of this season. So I think great for confidence.
Jake, there definitely seemed to be a sense of shoot on sight today. Do you think that was the message? I know they'd worked on finishing in training, but take a shot.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, you saw the quality of some of the goals today and the range that they came from as well. They weren't tap-ins. They weren't a case of pass, walk into the net. There were some screamer scores there, and it just shows that there's real ambition to take shots, and it's something that we've criticised them for this season. There's been times where we've just literally all been shouting, shoot, and they've not done it. But even going back to the first half before we'd even scored, the shots were coming in and Bristol were putting in some decent blocks to turn it behind and just getting the way of them. But, we drove them down eventually. And, yeah, the goals kept coming. And as I say, they were impressive strikes as well, which is the most pleasing thing about it.
Yeah, we could probably have a poll on its own today. Choose your favourite goal. Maybe over Christmas we will do. Shane, some of the performances today, I'm always a believer in let's get the 3 points. If we score plenty, then all the better for. But let's get the 3 points. Was today a game where we had to get the goals?
Yeah, I think so. You look at Bristol, and no disrespect to them, but they're bottom of the league for a reason, and everyone's putting goals past them. Bar maybe a couple of teams that have drawn against, I think Reading and Tottenham. So the position we're in the league and the quality of squad we've got, you have to be looking at a goal fest in a game like this. You just have to be. And, thankfully we've done it today.
Yeah, and Ian, you were on Twitter, so a slightly busier afternoon than you probably had, but a positive afternoon.
Yeah, really positive. We started the year against Bristol, 1-0 defeat with Ebb scoring, and in the first few minutes, we almost had a replica of that. So it's a really good way to end the year. As Jake's saying, we've been asking them to shoot for ages. Today they did. They got their reserve. There were just results from them. The only thing Casey won't be unhappy was with the goal, and that was poor from us.
Yeah.
Completely that third of the back again, too high a line. But otherwise, great way to finish the year.
Yeah, and actually talking of that goal, I know we could all talk about the positives, but let's just have a moment, Matt. The frustration for me at that goal was it was the same as last year. And actually there were last season, and there were times in the match where that threatened to happen repeatedly. Did the players not get the message? Did they not work on it in training? What was that like? What was that about for you?
Yeah, it is very frustrating because it feels like, a lot of the goals that we have conceded this season, you think of the one against Everton in midweek, the two in the league derby against City, even going back a bit, the two against Birmingham back in September and Ebenezer today. All of those goals didn't come from really any great skill from the opposition players. It was our own preventable mistakes, really. So, yeah, that is a definite frustration. And as Ian says, Casey will definitely be unhappy with that, particularly as, it does seem to keep happening. And, of course, she was the defender herself. So, she'll definitely want improvement on that in the second half of the season. But, I think that's more a minor irritation after today. I think when you score 6 goals, you've got to be happy with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think you'll find too many Reds today that aren't happy right now, at least in the day. Fiona, you were always
Yeah.
the fact that we had to get goals today. We had to really improve the goal difference. Are you anticipating it being a factor at the end of the season?
I don't think it will, but it gives you that bit of like confidence in yourself. We're up there. I think scoring the goals gives the players confidence. Leah, when she gets a few goals, she looks a lot more confident throughout the next few games. But I think it also gives the squad the confidence. Actually, we are competing with the other teams that are scoring lots of goals. And I think we would have all been disappointed if it was a 2-0 win. Yeah, it would have been a win, but if other teams are putting 8, 9, 10 goals past them, even more, and we can't, I think that highlights an issue for us. I think once we get a couple of goals, I think our goals start to flow a bit more in the game. But I always think we struggle to get that first one or two. And so I think that was nice today. And hopefully we can then build on that going forward.
The shame in some ways is that obviously we now go into the Christmas and New Year break. So momentum seems to come to a shuddering halt again. And Jake, do you think the players would have preferred to carry on? Yes, they'd all want to break, of course they would, but keep that momentum going. Would that have been preferable?
Yeah, I think that's always the case. Unless you're on a really bad run of form, you never like these breaks. But look, at least we can't blame internationals this time. Yeah, look, deserve it. And we have in the Premier League a winter break, which is very small. And I think having a winter break there definitely benefits the players. Having a full break from playing, just having some time to themselves, the families, and whatever they're going to be getting up to. But I think they'll come back re-energized. I like to think. Obviously, we've got not an injury-free squad, but we were able to name a full bench today, so that's definitely encouraging as well. But yeah, it's frustrating, especially after a big win, not to take that into the next game for a good few weeks. But just how the league forms, it's a case of not regretting the break. It's about making sure we come back and we stay on that level.
Yeah, definitely. And Matt, just thinking about the positives, if we always try and take positives from something, this break now does allow some players to rest. It also allows players who've been injured to maybe just get more training, a bit more fitness. We know they're all going to have the best part of a week off. Is there anybody you think in particular is going to benefit from no matches, but an opportunity to get some training in?
I think there's a few players, to be honest. Obviously, Kristen's been ill, missed the last couple of games, so I think that will definitely do her good. Obviously, you had the likes of Jess has been injured. Martha came on today, first time she's played all season. Ivana's come on the last couple of games, so I think there'll be a few players that are just coming back, and they've got 3 weeks off now. So I think all being well, by the time we come back, we should have a pretty much fully fit squad, barring any unfortunate accidents over Christmas. And a lot of players that are just getting towards fitness now should be ready and raring to go in January.
And of course, that first game back in January, Shane, away at Everton.
Why at Everton?
Is that in some ways, bearing in mind this fixture last season was our first game after the Christmas break, and there were all manner of reasons why that might not have gone our way. Casey said that maybe she got the timing wrong, bringing the players back at the wrong time, various other things. Is that actually, bearing in mind Wednesday night as well, and any needle that there might be with Everton, is that the perfect game for us to come back to in terms of everybody should be on it?
I guess so, yeah. It's a useful game, I suppose, because it's, as much as we've beaten Everton consistently in the past, and obviously Wednesday being the exception, they're a team where, on paper, you look at it at the moment and go, it could go either way. Whereas last year we came into a game against Bristol where we were expecting a scoreline similar to today, if not more. And that was probably what was our downfall, is we went into it thinking we'd already won before we kicked the ball. Whereas against Everton, especially how they've bolstered their squad this season in the summer, it's not a given. And Wednesday was proof of that as well, albeit I know it was a dead rubber game for us, but you still want to win those games. So, yeah, in a sense that it's a game we now have to win, given how important January is also going to be. We've got Chelsea away after Everton. That's a huge game, huge game. So as long as they get their mindset right, then I think we can be confident, I think.
Okay, talking about mindsets, everybody get ready. You know your favourite question's coming. Ian, before I ask for player of the match, your role on a match day, I often wonder, Ian does the Twitter for us, and I often wonder how much you actually get to enjoy the match, because you are so on it. You're quicker than the United official account, and I say this, that I often think you don't get to celebrate the goals. So Ian, I'm going to ask you on a personal level, what was your moment of the match today?
I think it's got to be Tobin's first. You know, got to credit Leah for hers, but Tobin, that's just Tobin. You know, you've seen it to do it in the US. We've seen her do it for the women's national team. Now we've seen her do that type of finish for us. Would have been so much better if we were there. But yeah, that strike was just Tobin through and through. She just wafted her left foot at it, and it's in the top left-hand corner.
And absolutely world class is, I think, the thing I said afterwards. Okay, then. Not wishing to lead anybody, but in terms of player of the match, anybody want Fiona?
I'm not sure. I can't get your hint there, Deb. Oh, it's got to be Tobin. Not just for the goals, because obviously they were both great goals, but she was in and about all the action today. Good overall performance from her.
Jake?
Yeah, close between Leah and Tobin, but you know, even before the goals were scored, Tobin was making it all happen, and yeah, 2 great goals for us. So Tobin.
Okay, Matt.
Yeah, as Jake said, I think it's really close between Leah and Tobin, but I think on balance, considering that when we were struggling to get going in the first few minutes, she was the real driving force that got us kick-started, as well as the goals. I think I have to go for Tobin.
Okay, Shane?
I'll be the controversial one, and I'll go Leah.
You know what? I was thinking, isn't it great that Leah Carlton puts in that kind of a performance, and yet isn't player of the match? She just put in.
It was so nice to see her shoot from distance as well. For once, so often you see her run into the box and drill one lower into the near post. So to see those 2 goals, as much as the second one probably wasn't intended to be a goal, but yeah, that's what edges it for me, I think.
Okay, 3 votes for Tobin, 1 for Leah. Ian?
Leah.
Okay. Undecided. The Barmy Army votes on Twitter, but I think by the time this has gone out, that might have closed. But it'll be interesting to see who wins that. Ian, Matt, Shane, Jake, Fiona, thank you very much for joining me. Thank you to anybody who's watched. That's it now for 2020. It's been a strange football year, certainly for the women, but that's been our last match of the year. We're back in January against Everton. Who knows where we'll be? Everton could have fans in right now. They're choosing not to, but who knows what will happen on the 10th of January. In the meantime, just like to say on behalf of everybody in the Barmy Army, just like to wish you all a very Merry Christmas, all the best for the new year, and let's hope it's a happy, healthy and safe one. Cheers. Thanks very much.